Hi everyone! Tom was here, back at it with another card video. I was tooling around on eBay looking for some interesting things, and one of the things lacking in my collection is vintage cards. And there's a fair argument to be made here, but I do feel that the greatest vintage cards, probably the most robust offering of vintage cards is baseball cards, just because baseball has a rich history. I found a couple different places that offered some vintage baseball cards as a mystery pack, I guess you could say. So there's two different ones here. This one here is someone's collection that they're selling off. So it's a 100-card lot. You don't know what you're getting. They specify it as saying no junk, that it's, the rookies in there, Hall of Famers in there, all that stuff. And it's from, I believe, 50 to 81. The vast majority, I don't expect a ton of 50s, to be honest with you. I don't expect even a ton of 60s. My guess is the vast majority of them will be 70s and 80s cards, considering the price point, because both of these are less than blaster prices. They were less than $20 each. Even with 100 cards, could it be the vast majority it's junk? Now, the reviews are very good with this customer, 100%, and several people have ordered this. Somewhat optimistic, I guess you could say. And this other one is only 50 cards. The way this works is actually two mystery packs of 25 that totaled the same amount, roughly the same amount as this. So can we do a pack battle when technically two are mystery packs and one's a card lot? Is it fair that the one that has 100 cards has a double card advantage, double the quantity to be able to be better than this first one? I've seen situations where less is more, but we'll see how it goes. Two mystery packs are also from 50 to, I think, 81, roughly, and you're guaranteed at least, I think, one player from the 50s and three from the 60s or something like that. But it said the vast majority of them would be between 70 and 81 or 84 or whatever the year is. So I'm not surprised by that, considering the price point. So let's get into this. This is two eBay vintage baseball mystery packs on Tom Was Here.
Hey, I'm Patrick Fabian, and you're watching TomWasHere.
So what should we start out with? Considering this is technically not a mystery, maybe we'll start out with the lot, the 100 card lot here. And the idea of this is that, like I said, someone's selling their collection and they're trying to get rid of their stuff. And what better way to do it than with a mystery? Because mysteries are the ultimate way to get rid of your junk. That's not to say this is junk, and that's not to knock it already, but alright. So what they have it in as is a 100 storage count box, has a thanks sticker on it. My guess is they were either packed for the order or packed for the thing. There you go. They're all in penny sleeves, and we're going to see what we can get here. Said I'm not expecting much, but as the reviews were good, we'll see how it goes. Okay, let's just pull out a bundle here. Okay, I expect a lot of names I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. And I'm not a true card junkie where I know each year just by looking at the front, but we're going to take a look. We got Paul Casanova, Dick Trott, 82 leading firemen, Dan Quisenberry and Bruce Sutter. We got NL Steve Carlton, Bruce Bochy, Kiko Garcia, Jay Johnstone, Rick Miller, Enos Cabell, Carlos May, Jim Lonborg, Bobby Bonds, Russ Snyder, Al Ferreira, Don Sutton, Pops. There's a nice Pops there. What's that? 81 Pops, something like that. Bill Short, Dan Iorg, Bob Forch, Steve Swisher, and a Future Stars, Oakland A's, Rich Bordy, Mike Budasaka, and Kelvin Moore. Okay. So nothing too exciting there from the jump. But, as mentioned, there are some Hall of Famers in there. Saw Steve Carlton, saw Stargell, so not bad, not too bad. Next bunch here, we got Rick Camp, Shane Rowley, Mike Easer, Len Sataka, Greg Harris, Dan Quisenberry, Claudel Washington, Bert Campaneris, Dave Smith. You got a Paul Molitor on the AL All-Star, a Eddie Winston, Rick Cerrone, a Jeff Torborg, Al Luplow, Nick Wilhite, Jim Davenport, Carl Yastrzemski. There you go. We got a leading fireman 1980 of Quisenberry, Rolly Fingers, and Tom Hume. A Tom Seaver. So you're getting some all-stars for sure. Von Haynes, Jose De Leon, Dave Stieb, Dan Dreesen, Andre Robertson, Dave Schmidt, Jeff Lottie, Durrell Thomas, Gene Richards, Lonnie Smith, Tony La Russa, a Mark Clear, Bobby Johnson, Larry Boa, John Wathan, Sam Ewing, Larry Bittner, Terry Forster, and Dell Unser. Okay, so let's grab the rest here and see what we got. Okay, we got a Jim Cat Super Veteran, George Capuzzello, a Ricky Henderson 82 record breaker, modern record for steals in one season. That's cool. It's off-centered as all cow, but still not bad. A Dennis Lamp, a Rod Carew, there's a Hall of Famer. Joe Morgan, another Hall of Famer. Jim Palmer, a Hall of Famer. A baseball checklist. Joe Rudy, Joe Willoughby, Oscar Gamble, Nelson Briles, Mike Phillips, Adrian Devine, Mike Sadik, Luis Gomez, Lou Whitaker, Dave Smith, Manny Moda, Lee Lacey, Sid Monge. You got there you go, a 71 World Series Game 4 with Clemente on there. Okay, nice. All right, not bad, not bad. Jim McLaughlin, Dick Hauser, LeRon Lee, Don Mincher, Frank Lindsay, Stan Bahansen, Randy Hundley, Jim Rooker, Mike Paul, George Stone, Tommy Davis, Orlando Pena, Bob Moose, Randy Mioli, Gary Matthews, Don Money, Tim Foley, Mickey Louch, Billy Champion, Daryl Sutherland, John Edwards. You know what? Not too bad for considering the price point. I mean, you get some old cards. There's definitely some older cards for sure. There's definitely some Hall of Famers for sure. Interestingly enough, like people like, you know, the 71 series with Clemente, you got Joe Morgan, we got Ricky Henderson, Carl Yastrzemski, Paul Molitor. So not bad, not too bad at all. Nice little selection there for sure. Some new, some old. Not bad. The 50, like I said, I wasn't expecting much, but the 50 is going to have a lofty goal ahead to pass this one up. But we're going to try. And remember, the 50 is two 25 packs. So 2 25 packs to make up the 50. But the reviews were glowing that I saw. You know, they got 100% on eBay. Both these sellers do. 100% on eBay. And I can see why with the first one. But this one here, I don't know if they grouped the packs together or were they separated? Who knows? Okay, so they packed them together, but they're actually separate packs. So we're gonna get into those a little bit. I'm trying to. They did use regular tape versus painter's tape. Painter's tape is the better of the two plays, but okay. Let's get into this first pack here. The card in this pack have been either purchased direct from the manufacturer or have been purchased on the secondary market. They have been repackaged for sales in the retail market by Morgan's Cards. Morgan's Cards has no affiliation, blah, 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 blah. Cards are inserted at random. Okay. All right. So, vintage packs, 25 cards per pack. And we're going to see what's doing in here. So we got, and looks like the first one is beat. Oh my God, it's beat. The one thing I can say about that first package is that the cards, even though there's definitely some off-center and there's ones that have dings and scratches and whatever, are actually pretty good. Pretty good quality. I didn't expect that with these. But you got Nellie Fox, but man, it's been through some battles. But even so, a card from what? What is this year? This is this a 50s or something? Yeah, I mean, I expect some off-center stuff. I expect some rough stuff for sure. Julian Javier, Gary Nolan, Ramon Webster. You got Ed Spizzo, Manny Sanguian. Very nice. That's cool. Randy Staub, Steve Horley, Cookie Rojas, Fred Kendall, Keith Hernandez, Jerry Devanyan, Bill Plummer, Pedro Bourbon. You got a Minnesota Twins card. Ken Brett. It looks smaller than the Bill Grief. Larry Linz. Paul Ruschel. Mike Sueller. Gene Garber. A Yankees card. Bob Lemon is the manager. What year? That's 79. Pat Dobson and a Rick Ruschel. So nothing super exciting. Obviously, the Nellie Fox is pretty cool, even though it's beat to beat. I mean, it's a one if you're lucky. It's probably an authentic. Yeah, it's been through some battles, but still a cool card to be had for sure. And considering the price point, like I said, I wasn't expecting much. So to have a nice collection of cards, I was just shocked in the first ones, the ones that were penny sleeved were actually in pretty good shape for the most part. You know, some, dare I would say, other than the centering, gradable. These not necessarily as much, but, you know, doesn't mean that, that you couldn't grade any of them. I would just be funny. I'd almost attempt that Nellie Fox just to see what it would come back at. Daryl Evans, is that miscut? Real miscut. A Bernie Carbo, Tommy Sant, Don Gullett, an Angels team card from what? Angels team card from some various year. Dave Roberts, Rick Piccolo, Bob Baylor, Steve Nicosia, a Chuck Harmon. I know that's an older one for sure. And Ed Matthews with third base on there, 3B written on there in case you didn't know. Felipe Alou, Jack Billingham, Randy Huntley, Lee May, Bob Gibson, very off center. Clay Herby, Johnny Callison, Jim Willoughby, Tommy Boggs, Dan DeMola. Oh, an all-star Reggie Jackson. There you go. Reggie Jackson from 79. Not bad. 74 highlights. Marshall Hurls in 106 games. Very off-center as well. And a Ray Burris. Okay. So, interesting. Not bad. There's some fun cards in both of these for sure. Definitely some interesting ones in the second mystery packs, but the quality isn't nearly as good as the other packs were. The other pack, the one that was the 100, cards are actually in. I mean, I know not all of them are, you know, thing. You don't really get many guarantees with them, but I mean, the quality is way better. I mean, way better. You know, like, I mean, the corners, like I said, this Bobby Bonds here, corners pretty good for an older card. For all these older cards, you know, like you're getting pretty good quality there. And I know some have some dents and dings, some things like that. They're not exactly the most centered by any stretch. But with Joe Morgan here, like I said, it's pretty good. Rod Carew, pretty good. So definitely the quality, if you're looking for potentially gradable things, then, you know, that 100 card lot is your best bet. If you're looking for, you know, some oddball stuff like a beat Nellie Fox there, you know, this is not bad. Plus, there were some Hall of Famers in here. Your Reggie Jacksons, your Keith Hernandez. It's a cool card for sure. Like I said, it would be fun to see what it would come back graded as, because it is rough. I wanted to add some vintage cards to my collection, and it's fair to say I have. You know, it's going to be fun kind of sorting these out and going through them. Certainly, I wonder if I would consider even grading some, not necessarily that Rickey Henderson, even though it's an 82, which I believe might be his rookie year, actually. Is that... Now, it's an 82 record breaker, meaning it's probably from 83, so that'd be second year Rickey Henderson, but the centering's just too far off. That 71 game 4 though might be something I would consider sending off to, because the quality looks pretty good on it. I know I see some soft corners, some little dents and dings, but overall not bad considering the price point of sub $20. I also half tempted to send this in for something just to see what it would come back as. My guess is authentic because it has been through some battles, but man, if it got a 1, not bad, not too bad. But that'll do it for this vintage card mystery packs, I guess you could say. Let me know who won in the comments down below. But guys, thanks so much for watching. If you were new here, make sure to like, share, subscribe. If you'd like to support me on Patreon like John Bailey, like Brett Persing, like Faye N, you can do so. Link is in the description below. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt, a TomWasHere t-shirt, you can do so at Spreadshirt, as well as links to my eBay store, Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, whatnot, Arena Club. The links are in the description below. But when it comes to the next trading card video, or the next video in general, we will see you soon. But until then, bye everyone.